We're continuing our series, Step Up, and today we're saying quitting is not an option. You look at this caption here. This is can anyone tell me what that might be? Anybody recognize this photo? It's a very famous photo. This is Time Magazine's capturing the march from Selma to Montgomery, the March for Freedom. And on this march, there were all colors, all creeds, all religions. Everyone was there. It was not just freedom for some people. It was freedom for everyone. It was Dr. King who says that one person suffers, we all suffer. When one person hurts, we all hurts. So we have to find the need and feel it, find the hurt and heal it. That's what our mission is. And do not stop. Do not become weary because things become difficult. When it becomes difficult, we just add more volume, add more love to it. Amen. And today we're going to step up. We're going to step up. Wherever you are, we have the responsibility as believers to make it better. You're the change agent. Things don't get better because you wait for them to get better. They get better because you make them better. And better doesn't come from another situation. Better comes from where you are. There's better in where you are right now. There's better health in your own health right now. There's better finances. There's better whatever you need. Better is right where you need it, right where you are. But you have to make it better. That's the hard part because we always want it to get better. And we wait for it to change, and it's waiting for us to change. It's like you're sitting there and hurry up, light change. We're waiting for the light to change. We're waiting for the light to change. And you realize that some things just got to be patient with the progress because change is coming. In fact, that's the one constant that we find in life, isn't it? Change. That's one thing that's constant in that. So we have to learn how to step up to whatever change that is needed. You want more? Step up to more. You want more strength? Step up. Push, give more than what you got right now. Read with me Hebrews chapter 12, verses number 1 and verse number 2. Therefore, we also, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us, and let us run with endurance the race that is set before us, looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. Can you see that okay? You can see that, right? Because you guys are reading like, God's a God of joy. Right? We come here because this is the place we can rejoice and be glad about it, right? We're happy about being here. So let's keep that scripture up there, Canaan, for a moment. It says, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. Now, what did scripture talk about this cloud of witnesses? The witnesses that's witnessing your life are the ones that have gone before us. There's a host of heaven right now that's cheering you on. And when you're having your rough days, they're cheering you on and says you can make it through this. You've got a crowd of witnesses that's there knowing that you're well able to overcome, that this is a temporary situation. Your worst day right now was their life. You think we think we have it bad. We think we have it bad. I keep reminding myself that this is not bad. Bad is all a relative term. We think about slavery and what they had to endure and what we endure now. It's no comparison between the two, but we can say, oh, it's so tough. Things are rough right now. And we do not understand what they have gone through. They have climbed up the rough side of the mountain. They have marched and fought and bled and died so that we can have Wi-Fi. Because we act like the world ends when we lose Wi-Fi. Anybody been like that? I can't believe Wi-Fi is out. Do you have it over there? Yours? You got it? You got it? Hey, y'all got Wi-Fi over at your house? Like the world ends. Did you know there was a time before Wi-Fi? Of course, some of you do. You know, that was life before Wi-Fi. Some people remember dial-up. And before dial-up even, before there was no up, we just did what we could. 2 channels was all we had where I grew up, 2 channels. You know, you had to get out there and rotate that antenna. Anybody had to rotate that antenna to get the right signal? Anybody up in here? You know, and I always had to go out there. I'm out there, you know, my brother been there. No, back the other way. Back, whoa, back, ho. You trying to get the right picture, you know? That was hard, Walter. That was tough, man. Now we got 1 million channels and we get bored. I've got nothing to watch. Nothing's on. How can nothing be on? Everything is on. And our witnesses, the cloud of witnesses are saying, can you believe these pathetic little children? Can you believe this? Because they have struggled for this. You know, they never gave up on you and I, because when they were fighting, they weren't fighting for themselves. They were looking beyond that, and they saw the freedom that we can get from their struggle. If they didn't give up on us, let's not give up on them. We owe something to them. Is that right? Yeah, go ahead. Give me a hand. Go ahead. We owe something. We owe something to the next generation that's coming after us, because they're looking to us. And if we can't do a better job, then what kind of world are we leaving them? I mean, we've got every convenience available now. We're in a world where you don't even have to leave your home. You can literally call and they'll deliver food, and you're shopping. You don't have to go shopping anymore. Whatever you need, it's right there. And people are still struggling. With all these conveniences, we still are struggling. I saw a statistic that suicide is the highest that it's been since World War II. The highest that it's been right now. With all the struggles that we're struggling. With everything that's available to us, we're struggling more than we've struggled in a long time. And going back to this thing, quitting should not be an option, but we're opting so often to just quit, to give up, to tap out, to say this, I'm done, when we really have just begun this race. It says in the second verse, it says, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which so easily ensnares us. And let us run with endurance and patience the race that is set before us. It's saying that whatever weighs us down, we got to cast that off. The Bible says, cast your cares upon the Lord because He cares for us. We're all going to endure struggles and difficulties, but you share those. Jesus comes to take away our burdens and our pain and our heartache and our issues. He's our burden bearer. So we shouldn't have to carry those. If we really believe in Him, He'll take those away from us. And we don't have to feel like we have to bear these crosses alone. Jesus did it on Calvary. That price He paid on Calvary was for all of the sins and everything that we tend to hold. He said, give it to me. He put it, it's all nailed on that cross in Calvary, that we may have freedom. Quitting is not an option. But even with all that, I'm going to share with you now reasons why you should quit. I hear you. But Pastor, sometimes, Pastor, you just can't, everything don't work out. You got to quit. I understand. There's some things that you may have to walk away from. I'm going to share those reasons to quit. Here you go. The first reason you quit is if the demands are harmful or dangerous. If your demands, whatever it is, if you're in a highly probability of injury or death, you're in a situation where it's a potential harm to you, you might quit that. If you're a roofer and you're afraid of heights, you might want to quit. If you got a job working on the high seas and you can't swim, or you're working out on some situation, you might reconsider your options. Quitting might not be a bad choice. Quitting can allow you to refocus sometimes. Refocus. You can stay on a job for so long, it becomes predictable. You know, when you're on anything too long, it becomes manageable. You got this. I could do this in my sleep. It may be time for you to move on to something a little bit more suitable, more challenging. So quitting may give you an opportunity to refocus your life and find out that there's better options that you have. Now that you've grown and you have more possibilities, you can't get to second base until you let go of first base. Amen. Right? So sometimes you have to let go of one place so you go to another place. So there's an option where you may have to quit so that you can have better opportunities for you and your family. Some people move. How many move from another state to here for work? Anybody move for work? Praise God for you. Because you saw the need to have to let go of, it was familiar. Were you there? You had friends there. You had family there. Everything was kind of working there, but you had to go. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes something is calling you out of that. But there are people around you says, well, you sure you want to go? He's not calling them. Don't let them talk you out of your blessing. Because sometimes they'll talk you out of your blessing. You're being blessed. Things are starting to work for you, but they keep reminding you. At some point, you just can't look back. Especially when you're trying to move forward. At some point, you're once in a while you reflect back, but you don't look back so long that you lose track of where you're going. Go where God is taking you. Set your mind on things that are above, right? Looking forward. Old things are passed away. We always say, right? Let them go. Let them go. All things have become new. You might want to quit because you've made a wrong choice. Sometimes you didn't read the fine print. Yeah, you made a mistake. You didn't realize all that went along with that. You liked it, but for these reasons, you got into it and you found out that it was just a mistake. It's a situation that didn't give you the best options. You've invested in something that was not profitable, and you realize that you're going nowhere. In fact, this is taking away from you, so you might have to quit. Some people invested in businesses, and they had to quit. The business was taking them down. They had to quit. They had to, you don't go down with the ship just because of principle. You may have to quit. You bought a house. You bought something that was more than what you can afford. So rather than just staying with it, you may have to foreclose and suffer that embarrassment or whatever that hit that you may have to take. But you may have to quit and decide you have better options. Downsizing, right? Some people don't think downsizing is a loss. Sometimes you have to take the loss so you can have a greater gain. Amen. Sometimes you may have to quit. So you might have to quit. I was listening to a doctor once, the whole family of doctors. This guy, the father and grandfather were doctors, and of course he followed in the family line, and his brothers were doctors, and they were honoring this one guy at a banquet for the humanitarian work that he had done. He was apparently very good at what he did. And when it was time for him to speak, he was sharing and his appreciation for all the people that had really helped him along. He thanked his father who was there and his other friends and his other brothers that were there and all those that were supporting him. And then he shocked them all. He says, but I can't do this anymore. He says, I can't do it anymore. I'm doing this and I know I've done well at this, but this is just not my dream. Yeah. He realized at that moment, as much as it was just not in him. Because he could do it and do it well, he had to do what ultimately gave him the best peace and allowed him to be at peace with himself. So sometimes when you're doing something that's not bringing you the peace, even though it's providing for you, you're able to, have benefits there and it's working on one aspect, but you're not having that peace, that can wear on you over time. Because when something is taking away your peace, it's taking away a piece of you every time you go back to it. A little piece of you is being taken away. And how much can it take away before there's nothing of you left? He realized that and he says, I can't do it anymore. As much as, I don't want to be a disappointment to everybody, but I've got to follow my dream. Amen. And I believe we all have a dream that we have to follow. And that dream means that we have to let go of the lesser so that we can have the greater. And that's what God always challenges us to do. There's always a greater good, a greater glory that he's taken us to. Can I get an amen on that? Amen. Somebody say, face your mountain. Face your mountain. Oh, yeah, you got to face the mountains. That's the difficult part, isn't it? When you have fear and fatigue and disappointment and you just feel like you can't go on and everything that you want to go forward. But when you're facing all of that and it's telling you, if you want to get there, you've got to get through me. Your fear is saying, if you want it, you got to get through me. Your disappointment is saying, if you want it, you got to get through me. Your discouragement, you got to face all of your shortcomings if you want it. And if you want it, you can't quit then. Because quitting can't be an option. You don't quit when you're tired. You quit when you're done. You don't stop because you're feeling something or you don't feel what you want to feel. You're not seeing what you want to see. No, you're not done yet. Though I go through the valley, right? You don't stay in the valley. Though I go through the valley of the shadow of death, I fear what? No evil. Why? Because God is with me. His rod, his staff comforts you. So during those times, he'll give you what you need so that you can rise up and keep going. A just man falls 7 times and he rises up again. Isn't that something? He just says, you're going to fall. What do you mean, God, I'm going to fall? Oh, you're going to fall. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. You're going to fall. But when you know you're going to fall, that somehow takes the sting out of it. It's like a person gets in a boxing match and says, he hit me. He hit me. Yeah, he hit me hard. Life hits hard, doesn't it? It hits hard. But you got to learn how to what? Fight back, right? You can't just throw it in the towel just because you get hit, just because you get knocked down. I was watching, I think it was Larry Holmes. He was fighting. He was the champion at the time. He was fighting this guy named Ernest Shavers. Ernest Shavers was the hardest hitting guy in boxing. And he hit Larry Holmes and he was out. And I was like, oh, new champion in town. But then somewhere around the count, he got up. And he fought back. And he was able to win. See, that's the champion. The champion is not the one who gets knocked down or who stays down. It's the one who keeps getting up. The champion in you makes you keep getting up because quitting is not an option. Now, you have to know that there's a champion in you, and champions don't belong on the canvas, or on the floor, on the ground. A champion always finds a way to get up again, and you keep fighting forward. It's not over because you feel like it's over, because things not going your way, or because you feel tired. You got to face it. You got to face that mountain. When I was a kid, this is kind of embarrassing. I used to be afraid of ghosts. Ghosts and dead people. Yeah, ghosts. And down south, there were a lot of ghost stories. Anybody grew up with ghost stories? I don't know if you grew up with ghost stories. A lot of ghost stories down south. And occasionally when people died, the word around there is that they were back. You know, you went to Miss Dixon's funeral and they say, hey, they're saying Miss Dixon's back. Now, I'm like 9 years old, you know. Miss Dixon's back. And we had an outhouse, right? So at nighttime, you think I'm going to go? Because I get out there, Miss Dixon grabs me, man, that's over. Nobody ever hear from me or see me again, so no, I'll hold it. I remember one time we were out playing and somebody was, like late, somebody went around to the ball and they says, oh, I just saw Miss Dixon. I was gone, running, never looked back. I was the smallest, but I was ahead of everybody. Ran up on the porch, boom, boom. Mama, open the door, what's wrong with y'all? Mama's like, get in here. Mama, Miss Dixon, get in here with that foolishness. Then she looked out the window because I don't think Mama was sure about Miss Dixon either, you know. And Miss Dixon was everywhere. We saw her more after she died than when she was alive. She was everywhere. She was opening stores. Miss Dixon, no. She was everywhere. But that was a fear that I had of death, of dead people and ghosts. Now, when I went to school to study chiropractic, our first semester in anatomy lab, we had to dissect. What do you think we dissected? Cadavers. Yes. So here we were in the lab, and the instructor was talking to us, and there was like these I don't know what they were in, canisters or whatever they were in. And then she says, okay, now we're going to bring up the, I forgot what they didn't call them dead people. We're going to bring up these specimens, or whatever they call them, something medicinal. Snake is like, yeah. And then they say, okay, and they open them up and start cranking them up, and these dead lives, oh, man, they were like everywhere. And they were just, man, and people were leaving, going outside because they couldn't take it, and I'm thinking, how bad do you want this? Because this was it. This was it. I had to face whatever fears I had. At some point, life will bring you in confrontation with you. Your greatest enemy is going to be the enemy that's in me. We're going to have to face that enemy that's there. That small talk, that voice that we hear is what we're going to have to confront if you want to move forward sometimes. And we had to sit there and all semester we had to dissect and take away and it's something like that's not like when you held somebody's brain in your hands, everything. We had to dissect everything, the heart, take it all out, and you're sitting there and after that, who's afraid anymore after that? But you confront your fear because you have to face them. So at some point you have to face your mountain. I think I gave you this already, but that note was losers don't quit when they're tired. They quit when they're done. I want to make sure to get that note. Losers don't quit. Winners, you get it, right? Winners don't quit when they're tired. Winners quit when they're done. There you go. Thank you very much. Yeah, do what I say, not what I do. 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number 7. 2 Timothy 1 and 7 says, God did not give us what? A spirit of fear, but a spirit of power, of love, of power, and what? A sound mind. A sound mind. That's a different one, Canaan. I quoted a different one there. Yeah, they just threw that in. That's free of charge. That's freebie on that one. 2 Timothy chapter 1 and verse number 7, just in case you didn't know that. But let's look at Isaiah chapter 41 and verse number 10. This is God's instruction to us at the same time. He says, fear not. Why? For I am with you. Be not dismayed or discouraged, for I am who? Your God, not just God, I'm your God. Make it personal. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Quitting is not an option. I want to keep bringing that back to you. In special forces, special forces are an elite group of individuals who decided that they want to become part of a band of people that's going to defend country at whatever cost. But the training to be part of any special forces, and there are a lot of special forces out there, but the training on all of those are grueling. It's demanding. Physically, it tests your endurance, it tests your patience, your ability to lead and to work together as a team. You're tested down to the nth degree. Some of those special forces will have something that's called Hell Week, where they put you through some amazing torture for like 7 days. Others, they'll take you out for 3 weeks out in the mountains where you have survival training. And during these extremities, people are known to lose between 20 and 30 pounds over a 6 to 8 week period of time. It's stressful physically and mentally, where you have little rations and very little sleep, and every part of you is being tested. But in the middle of that camp, in the middle of that camp will be a brass bell. Now, if at any point where you've had enough, where you don't want to go anymore, where you feel like you've reached the end, all you have to do is ring the bell. And during most of these trainings, at least 50% of the recruits ring the bell. They've gone through the exact same thing that those that have gone through that had made it through, the exact same thing they had to go through, but for some reason, they got to that point and they couldn't go on. You see, if someone else can do it, at some point you got to say to yourself, I can do this. I don't know how, but you got to draw on whatever you've got inside of you and believe that you can't quit. You didn't come this far to quit. You got to know going in, you got to go in with the idea going in that quitting is not an option. I'm going to make it through this. But still, people ring the bell and they tap out. There's nothing wrong with doing that when you need to, but when that becomes your nature, when everything you do has a tap out clause in it, when you go in with the idea, if it gets too much, I'm just going to tap out, you already defeated a good portion of your chances. It's like having that trump card. Why do you have it if you're not going to use it? If you hold on to things long enough, you're going to use that. At some point, you got to get rid of all of your excuses, all of your alibis, all of your reasons why you can't do it, and believe that, yes, this has got to work. But that means you've got rid of all of your options. Where quitting is not an option. It's whatever you can draw on, whatever you've got to draw on, and know that you have within you everything that you need to do it. If someone else can, so can you as well. Most of them wash out. The Navy SEALs are one of the highest. At one point, the Navy SEALs had one training where not one recruit made it through. No one made it through. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. Sometimes life will give you choices to where it's difficult to do it. It's difficult, and you have every reason to quit. But you got to do this. You got to say, I have to do this. Something, not that I should do this, I want to do this. Some things you got to make a priority of it. I've got to do this. You have to say that I've got to do this. Not have someone else tell you and convince you and persuade you or try and boost you up, because we always want to be encouraged. At some point, you got to encourage yourself. You got to have that talk with you. Get in the mirror and tell yourself, look, you can do this. Whatever it takes, you're not going to quit. You're not going to quit. So what we're going to do, we're going to face our mountain. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to speak to your mountain. You got to speak to your mountain. You can't just do it quietly. Sometimes it's the words of your mouth. There's life and death in what you say. You can speak life by saying it, or you can speak death by what you say. It's your choice. Life and death is up to you. Whether you win or lose, oftentimes it's what you say. Before people quit, sometimes they'll say, man, I'm getting tired of this. Or you'll say things that prompts you already toward that direction. Be careful of the words that you say. Sometimes what you're saying is prophecy. You're speaking your life and not even aware that you're following the course of the thing that you have been saying. If I could read the transcript of your life, just listen to the things you said, just read the transcript, I would say, no wonder why you're where you are. You talk yourself into exactly where you are at this point. You get to write your own story. You get to write this. No one is writing your story. You're the author. You get to write this life. The way it turned out, you can blame other people, but we can rewrite the script. You have that choice in life. It's not just happenstance or circumstance. Oh, just I guess that's just the way it is. No, it's not. You can say to this mountain, be moved and cast into the sea. You can say to this illness, you can say to this financial debt, you can say to this situation, to this recourse, be moved. Why would God tell us we can say this if we can't say it? He gives us the instruction that is in our mouth, it's in what you say. You don't have what you see, you have what you've been saying. You want to say that this just has to happen, I have to accept this, just life. No, your life is what you orchestrate and call it to be. Speak those things that be not, the Bible says, as though what? Speak. Let the weak say what? Strong. That's right. But when you're weak, all you can think about is how weak you are. Right? That's what we do. When we're weak, we get around a bunch of weak people. How weak are you? Man, I'm so weak. Man, if you're broke, you get around broke people. How broke are you? Man, I don't know. You talking about being broke. I can't even pay attention. You got all kind of funny little broke stuff you talk about. That's so funny. You're so broke. At some point, you got to get around people that have something. Right? Association brings assimilation. Association brings assimilation. When you're around people you associate with, soon you assimilate that culture, that thinking, that behavior. And before you know it, you are like them. If you want to be, a big flea, hang around the big dogs, right? Speak to the mountain. Speak to the mountain. Let the weak say, I'm strong. Last night we were at the wedding, and Lois and Earl were there. Lois and Earl. Yeah, you remember Lois and Earl? It was so funny. They were there, and And it's sad to me because, you see people decline over time. It's sad to watch anybody decline. He's 90 now, she's 93, and they had the dance. They have like I forget what they call the dance, but it's where everybody gets out there and you start dancing together, all couples, right? And then the one that's been married the least. Okay, all those who've been married less than 5 years, sit down. And then, one day, yeah. They keep increasing. Okay, those who've been married 10 years, sit down. Okay, in 15 years, and start doing that. And Earl and Lois out there. 20 years, okay? And he kept going in such small increments. 22 years, and they'd be like, okay, yeah, 50 years, and they're out there, they've got 3 couples out there, and okay, 55 years, and then they're still dancing, and the guy's like 57, he's like, look, man, pump this up. They're going to be out here forever. So 70 years. Yeah, give it a hand, 70 years. When you look at them, to me, it's like they're a role model for me, and to think that you can be that way and still together. That's God's promise. 70 years, you've been together 70 years? Some people don't even live 70 years, let alone live with somebody 70 years. Somebody gonna live with me 70 years, right? But 70 years, that's a blessing that God allows you to see that. It should inspire us. You think they've gone through some storms during those 70 years? You think they've wanted to quit 70 years during the 70 years? They've had some issues? So you ever think about divorce? Never. Murder? Several times. No. If you ever have in your mind that you have an option to quit, believe me, you've already given yourself the option to. If you go in with that idea, just saying, if it don't work, I'm going to try it. I'm going to try it. Show me that in the Bible. Wow. Show it to me in the Bible where God says, okay, I want you to try something. Okay, guys, I want you to try something. I want you to try to march around this city 7 times every day, and I want you to just try this, see if it's going to work. No, God, there's no try. I think there's a prophet who says, try or try not. There is no try. Only do. The great prophet who? Yoda, right, yeah. The great prophet Yoda. I had a grandparent, you probably had grandparents that wouldn't quit. The older generation wouldn't quit on anything. Nothing could take them out. Diabetes, cancer, gout. They died with every disease known to man. But they say, I'm not quitting. I'm not done. I'm not done. They just didn't go. They just did not check out. So sometimes we have to say to the mountains, speak to the mountains, be moved. And then lastly, we have to renew your vision. Renew your vision. Okay, face your mountain, speak to your mountain, and then renew your vision. In Zechariah chapter 4 and verse number 6, and I'm just going to set this up for a moment. Zechariah was a king, and God had given him, Zerubbabel was a king. This is King Zerubbabel. God had given him the task to rebuild the temple. But he ran out of materials. And he didn't know how he was going to complete the task. So, he's wondering, God, you gave me this to do, and now I'm at a point where I can't go on anymore. What do I do? And he kept praying to God and wondering, when you're out of resources and you don't know what you can do, doesn't mean that there's nothing else that God can do. Because your plan and God's plan are so different. Your timing and God's timing is so different. I shared to you, we had house plans that we were building. We thought we'd be moved in the house. We had the plans about 2 years ago. We kind of put those plans together. We said, well, by Christmas, we should be in the house. Excited. That was 2 Christmases ago. No house. I'm like, God, but God didn't say that it would not happen. You see that? Sometimes we get discouraged and we want to quit because we'll say, well, maybe it's not God's plan. Or if it doesn't happen in my time frame and doesn't happen the way I wanted to, it may not be God's plan. Because we can give ourselves that option, that way we can feel better about it. And now I'll just quit and do something else. But just when you're about to quit, God was just about to move his hand. Don't step ahead of God. Because we get impatient. Because we believe that this is all there is. I tried everything, God, and it's just not working. No, don't give up on God. Let God be the one to change course. Don't you change course ahead of God. Just before you're about to do things, that's when God's sometimes about to step in. But it's when we put it down. When we're still carrying it, sometimes God says, when you let it go, let me know when you're ready to let it go and let me take it over. Because we want to control everything. When God would saw that it was not good that man should be alone, and God caused man to fall into a deep sleep, and God took from him the rib and he made woman. But he did it in a deep sleep. Now, God could have made woman out of the dust of the earth, could have made woman out of anything, but he took her from the rib and made the woman. And he brought her to the man. Brought her to the man. Had man been able to intervene on that, you think he would have been able to advise God on what he wanted? God, I'm from down south, and we make her a little bit more like this, and God, I'm this kind of guy. I like this. And we like to advise God on how to do what God does, rather than allowing God to be God. I think it was Psalm 46:10. It says, be still. Shh. That's the word down south. Shh. Shh. That means be still. And know that I am God. Sometimes God will tell us that when we're all frantic, we're concerned, he says, you're trying to play God now. There's only one God. And we have to be still and let God be God. Because when we try to play God and it's not happening the way we start disbelieving, well, God's not working for me anymore. God never worked for you. It's not about us. So when we feel like we're frantic and we want to give up, don't give up on God. He's still working. He never gives up. He never gives out. He's still working on you on every situation. Never stop praying. Never stop believing. Never stop having hope. God is eternal. He's eternal. When Zerubbabel was building this temple, he was giving up. He gave no more resources, don't know what to do. And God sent the prophet Zechariah to the king. He says, yes, you will build this temple, but it won't be by power, nor by might, but by my spirit. That's Zechariah chapter 4, verse number 6. Show them that one, Canaan. Not by power, not by might, but by my spirit. Writers give up sometimes on their novels. I think I have people in here that are writing something, and you may have not finished your book, or you had that clear vision in mind of something you want to do, maybe start that business, something you want to do, and you were starting to do it, it was working, but you hit some snags, it became difficult. You didn't know where your next step was coming from, and you opted out. It was working. I'm going to tell you, it was working. Sometimes you don't know, it didn't feel like it was working, but it's not about a feeling, it's just about a faith. You got to have a faith in you that knows that despite what you see and hear, it's working. It's working. People drop out of college. They quit. They're in a relationship and things become difficult. They opt out of their family. Guys, husbands walk away. Fathers walk away. One of the saddest things I heard one guy talking about, he said he didn't like me for some reason. When we first met, he didn't like me. And I'm like, how can someone not love me? And then he sat down, he started telling me a little bit about his life. He says, when I see you, he says, I see everything in me that I should have been. He says, everything about you, it's like you're living my life in a way. And he's just being transparent. I'm like, he says, here's something that happened to me. He says, when I was a kid, he says, those kids who says that their parents never told them that they loved them. My parents never told me that he loved me. He says, my dad told us he loved us. He said, here's what my dad did. He brought us all into the room one night. He says, look, I want to tell y'all, I love you, okay? They're like, we love you too, Dad. He said, I want you to know I love you, okay? I said, yeah, we love you. And then he just walked away from his family. That was the last he ever saw him. So just because you're not hearing what you want to hear doesn't mean someone's not loving you with all that they've got. They can never give you something that they never received. We got to be understanding and compassionate through every situation. You may not have everything that you want, but you don't know what they had to deny and give up just to be here. Have peace. Don't look back with all the regrets about what didn't go, and I could be better along, but this is all the things that happened to me. This is why I can't go any further. No, pick it up, pick it up. You got to step up. You don't quit now. If nothing more, prove all of your doubts wrong. Prove all of the things that's calling you out. No, you're going to make it despite all the things that you hear, because quitting is not an option. Don't focus on your storms or your trials. Be steadfast. The Bible says, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And lastly, I'm going to close with this little poem by an unknown author. It says, live every day like it shall last, because one day you'll be right. So dance in the rain, sing through the pain, but never give up the fight. Quitting is not an option. Almighty God, thank you. Thank you, Jesus. What a word today. A word that we can take with us, a word that will resound through us, that we can hear again, and we can remind ourselves, God, that you're with us, that you never, ever will leave us. You never forsake us. And we're going to go through some storms. We're going to go through some valleys, but we'll never be alone. If you're hearing or seeing, if you're online and you never accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, I'm going to just lead you quickly through a prayer. Just pray this prayer and believe with all of your heart. If you never accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, just say, Almighty God, forgive me. I repent of my sins. I believe that Jesus Christ died for me, and that God raised him from the dead. By this confession, I'm saved. I make Jesus Christ my Lord and my Savior. You may be a backslider, which means you've already accepted Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. But you need to recommit your life to him. Just say, thank you, Jesus, for dying on the cross for me. Thank you, God, for never forsaking me. I confess my sins. I recommit myself to you. I make Jesus Christ my Lord and my Savior.